On Thursday afternoon around 2:30 p.m., River Sume in Bududa district burst its banks after heavy downpour, and the subsequent flooding and mudslides caused a lot of damage and led to the deaths of at least 40 people. Prior to Thursday's disaster, there had been signs for months that any heavy downpour was likely to cause major damage. Large cracks had been discovered all over the slopes of Mount Elgon earlier in the year, and the Meteorological Authority had also issued a warning of impending torrential rains in the area. I asked the Commissioner Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Management, Martin Owor, why people were not relocated to avoid fatalities, especially since at least 150 people died as a result of landslides in Bududa in 2010.
Previously, our government allocated about 8 billion shillings that was meant to buy land for resettling people who are in the disaster-prone areas. But it is alleged that some of the land that was bought in the Bulambli area was in the swamp.
Somebody wanted to sell to us a wetland, a very prominent person. We refused. But that's where the problem began. That when we refused to buy, there was a lot of manipulations, political manipulations, which resulted into funding for a settlement being stopped.
Over 110,000 people have been sitting on a time bomb, as it was only a matter of time before another disaster struck the area. According to Owor, the ministry had requested government to allocate 10 billion shillings that would be used to relocate at least 10,000 people every year in a space of 10 years. However, only 300 homes were constructed in Chiriandongo at an average cost of about 17 million shillings per home.
Several things in Parliament have happened and government has spent money to a point of even borrowing and also using supplementary budgets. How come up to now government has failed to relocate these people into the safer areas?
We are now telling Minister of Finance that since there is a contingency fund, we need that money, part of it, to start resettlement immediately. Because we cannot continue explaining when people are dead.
Currently, the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness and Refugees is allocated 3.6 billion shillings, which is not enough to respond effectively to disasters. However, Owor says the ministry has already dispatched supplies to the affected people, though it's not clear how many have been affected.
The families which have survived will receive tents, will receive household items, will receive food today.
In terms of search for any survivors and bodies, government response has always been slow and inadequate. I asked Owor what plans they have to retrieve the remaining bodies.
We are now trying to strategize that let's get people out, other than incurring heavy costs of digging a lot of mud. You can have about three, the other time we have 3 excavators digging for 3 weeks.
The districts on the slopes of Mount Elgon, especially in the Bugisu sub-region, have experienced a number of disasters over the last few years, and yet there still doesn't appear to be a solution in sight. Sudil Yaruhanga, NTV.